Hello, welcome back to my channel. I'm FrancisP. I'm back with another personal development recovery coaching video. And today we're talking about what is recovery. And I think that this is important to cover because in working with clients, especially people that are newer to recovery, they view recovery as simply a one-step process, oftentimes of just eliminating the substance. That it's as simple as if I stop doing this substance or this behavior, that's the end of the issues. And not even end issues, that's where it can end. And in fact, it is a far deeper process and a far grander process and more enriching, rewarding, and a journey of self-discovery than it is this just one-step thing. And I wanted to go through some of this, and I want to actually start with the SAMHSA, the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, their definition of recovery. And their recovery working definition states that it is a process of change through which individuals improve their health and wellness, live a self-directed life, and strive to reach their full potential. And we break this down, we think about improving our health and wellness. Yes, that can be eliminating the substance itself because, if you're doing something like heroin, crack cocaine, even drinking alcohol, these different things that are affecting your physical health and wellness, as well as other areas of your life, eliminating them can be a, quick, easy way to improve your health and wellness, but it also goes beyond that. So we think about improving our health. Sometimes that can be checking out different medical things that we've been putting off. Sometimes for a lot of people, it's dental work, different things like that if you're able to get, health insurance, start thinking about these issues that have going on, that you can, begin to work on them and begin to feel better just overall. And wellness, there's so many different aspects that go into wellness, and there's a holistic, approach and theory of wellness besides just your physical aspect, your social, your spiritual wellness, these other parts of life that we work on in recovery. So once again, it goes beyond just, eliminating the behavior itself. Live a self-directed life. And to me, self-direction is your ability to motivate yourself. That, it's not outside people, stimulus, things that are motivating you or getting you to do the things that you need to do, the things that align with your goals and your values. You're doing it for yourself. And sometimes it is external motivators early on, like probation, parole, our family, different things like that are initially directing us towards recovery. But over time, as the motivation rather shifts from an extrinsic and external motivation to internal intrinsic motivation because it feels good, your health is improving, your wellness is improving, you can become more self-directed. So that way it's you that is motivating yourself to continuously make good choices. So next time presented with these crossroads, I say these forks in the road, you can help yourself make a better choice because you know what it is you're working towards and you feel it within yourself. And lastly, in this definition, we have strive to reach their full potential. And think about that. Think about strive to reach your full potential. And I think that we honestly a lot of times don't know our own full potential. And that's part of the process and the journey of self-discovery through recovery is learning what our potential is. Suppose we haven't put much time in our health and wellness, our health, and then you decide, let me start jogging, let me start running. Next thing you know, you discover that you really like running marathons and you are an incredible distance runner. Working towards that. I'd like to be able to run like marathons, working towards 5K, but like these different things, like something that you didn't think you could be able to do. Never thought I'd be able to bench what I can currently bench, like finding these different areas that I can push myself in and improve in just to see my potential in different things, to me that becomes exciting, it's that self-discovery, and I think what more rewarding and beneficial thing to do in this life but to get to know yourself, to develop that relationship with yourself. And that will go into one of my next slides coming up, not this one but soon. So I want to talk about some of the pathways to recovery. And I think sometimes when people think about recovery, they think about inpatient treatment, traditional rehabs, the inpatient stays, and that can be beneficial for a lot of people. And I was a person that used to fear that myself, going inpatient. I've been in different forms of treatment since I was 14 years old. And eventually I realized that sometimes, for a lot of people that it's their actual situation that they're in currently, their living situation, their triggers are around them, that sometimes being able to just get away for a while from these different triggers and these different stimuli, and to have a therapeutic, supportive environment where you can learn some of these coping skills, some of these tools, get some time away from the substance itself, build your mental clarity, that then when you go back to your situation, you're in a better position to be able to cope with it. Next would be intensive outpatient. That can be going several days a week for several hours, group therapy, one-on-one therapy, peer support, all these different things. And that's another option. General outpatient is usually 1 or 2 appointments a week. And a lot of times people either come in at that level of care based on their current need, based on the severity of the substance use itself, or sometimes you graduate through these different levels of care. So you might start out in inpatient and detox, move to the intensive outpatient, move to general outpatient, and a qualified professional doing a level care assessment, that would help determine what level of care is appropriate for you. And I wouldn't even encourage you to try and figure that out for yourself. Talk to somebody about it, because understand the options, understand the benefits, because everything has, different benefits to it. And I think they can all be of use. And next is medication assisted treatment. And that are things like Suboxone, Methadone, Vivitrol, usually in an outpatient setting. That way it can give your body time to adjust, or for people, that want to be on it more long term, it can be kind of an insurance policy, especially something like Vivitrol to prevent you from feeling the euphoric effects of opiates, things like that. It can help you in that critical moment to think, well, I'm on Vivitrol, there's no point in me trying to get high. Or Suboxone, curb cravings, curb withdrawal, things like that. Use it to wean off. Methadone, same thing. Next, we have mutual self-help support groups. And these are different groups that you've heard of, like 12 Steps, NA, AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, Cocaine Anonymous. They have one for pretty much everything. Women's groups, Smart Recovery. It's a program that I benefited from, and I was a facilitator for. I truly believe in it. Smart Recovery, not to just pick one. Recovery Dharma, it's a Buddhist program. I honestly wish I'd heard of that early on. Although, I'm glad I'd heard of it now, but, I think it could have been beneficial just to check out and learn some different concepts that I get into later on. Celebrate Recovery is a Christian program that a lot of people find great benefit and great community with. There's also other programs out there. And last we have, and this is not an exhaustive list, we have natural recovery. And natural recovery is when a person recovers without treatment. And this can occur usually it's like people quitting something cold turkey. They decide, I'm not drinking after today. I'm not smoking after today. After today, I'm, not doing heroin. And, that could happen as well, with hard drugs, things like that. And that where the person doesn't seek out any professional level of care, or even maybe a mutual self-help group, and just works on their own. And I can even say, I suppose natural recovery could be just learning different coping skills, through books, different resources, different tools online, things like that. I could still consider probably natural recovery, where you're doing it on your own. And I want to give examples like, just to broaden the perspective of recovery, like what recovery can look like. And it can be everything like fun, enjoyable hobbies, like art, like playing music, like meditation, just being out in nature, spending time with your family, spending time with your friends, going for hikes, joining these different groups, running groups, hiking groups. I've been in a caving, spelunking group, growing up. There's a group for everything out there. Whatever you're into, there's probably a group of people out there that are doing it. And if you can develop your social skills, your communication skills, just being open, being warm, being kind, being friendly, going these things, maybe you can develop some friends and a better support system. I also have a person exercising, which is one of my favorite coping skills these days. And, I'd heard about the benefits and of stress relief of exercise, and I truly didn't get it till I experienced myself, just like recovery. It's the when you're in it and you're doing it and you experience, you're like, okay, now I get it. And I think that's the same thing with recovery. And I'm going to go ahead and move my camera out of the way. I also have a person, reading a book. And like I said, books are great resources. There's so many different self-help books and so many different resources out there for you to get help with. We have a person sitting there in counseling or therapy, talking to someone, which is extremely beneficial because I don't think everyone is equipped with all the skills and all the tools they need in this life. And I think the more that you can learn to ask for help, learn to be open, learn to, gain from the wisdom of others and the experience of others and the knowledge of others, and then apply it to your own life, it can only be beneficial. And then last, I have a support group, and there's support groups for everything, from addiction recovery support groups, grief support groups, you name it. There's a support group out there for people going through it, and I think that can be very beneficial just to know that you're not alone, whatever you're experiencing. That there's other people who've been through this, who've got through this, who've developed a plan and no way out, and can help you through it. And next, we have the benefits of recovery. Move my camera. And we had discussed some of these, but some of the benefits of recovery are improved health, improved relationships, and that can be with your family, your friends, your partners. Life is a lot easier when you're able to just be honest, truthful, reliable, all these different things. It really lets you show your true best version of yourself and bring that forth in the world. And that also leads to your improved sense of self, because when your actions align with your goals and values, you feel general true happiness. You feel good about who you are, about the things that you're doing. So when we do things that don't align with how we view ourselves, our values, we feel guilt, shame, all these different negative emotions. Improved mental clarity. Like I said, with the treatment, the goal is by getting some time away from the substance itself, you can let that brain fog kind of lift a bit and learn to, some of these concepts and absorb some of these things and learn to put them into practice in your life, but that mental clarity is going to be tough to achieve if you're still in active use. I mean, you could be trying to learn some of these coping skills and concepts and having some lapses and things like that, but you need to kind of build on that and gain that clarity a bit to really be firing on all cylinders. And that increased self-confidence. And to me, the self-confidence comes from being able to overcome challenges and obstacles and to be able to establish goals and develop a plan and see them through. Because the more that you're able to do that, the more I'm able to have an obstacle or challenge, figure out a pathway, through and accomplish it. Okay, I feel more confident in my ability to overcome different challenges and obstacles and barriers. The more that I can give myself a long-term goal and stay self-directed, stay self-disciplined, and work to achieve it, I've taught myself that yes, I can set long-term things for myself, and I won't just give up, give in easy. I build that self-confidence. And that's why there's a lot of things that go into self-confidence. And I think a lot of times people just think physically, which at least the improved health and wellness can potentially help with that. You look a lot better than usually if you're smoking crack and shooting dope and stuff like that when you get into recovery. But self-confidence is very, very multifaceted, and it's, I think, just getting to know yourself. And once again, that true happiness and satisfaction that you gain from recovery. Things aren't always going to be easy. Not every day is going to be sunshine. There's going to be difficult days. There's going to be cloudy days. But your ability to build resilience and your ability to get through these things will help you appreciate the sunny days. And the easy things when things go well, or when that goal finally works out. Even more. And it's not chemical, because to me, the drugs are designed, well, not designed, but drugs just naturally affect your brain chemicals that give you the sense of reward, the sense of satisfaction, the sense of euphoria. And if you're giving yourself these things falsely, and I make the joke, that if you're sitting there, smoking weed all day, to help yourself get that release of that I crushed it onodomata chemical. It's the same chemical in a runner's high or after a great workout that, yeah, I did good. That's what cannabis is releasing, onodomata. Well, if you're just sitting there playing video games all day and you're just cracking that chemical, yeah, you're giving yourself the I did really good chemical, but did you? And don't get me wrong, I love video games. And if you do something like you beat Dark Souls or something, like, yeah, give yourself a round of applause, but there's much more to this life. It's a full picture of lifestyle balance, which we can get into another point, but to also be actively pursuing your goals, your dreams, these different things like that. And that'll bring us next. to some examples of maladaptive behaviors. And these are things that anything that stops you from adapting to new or difficult circumstances, and these are things that you pick up that are coping skills, that are negative coping skills that you use in times of emotional, mental distress, discomfort, boredom, um, you know, um, anger, anxiety, different things like that. And they can start after major life change, an illness, or a traumatic event. It could also be a bad habit that you picked up at an early age. If you learn to, suppose in your early 20s you go through a bad breakup, you go through something difficult, and your friends take you out and help get you hammered, how do you think you're going to handle breakups and difficult things after that? I mean, it's a lot of times I think these are patterns and social things that we pick up that we're not even really aware of where we got them from, but once they become this established pattern, here we are. The examples can be substance use, anger, withdrawal, self-harm, sexual behaviors and addiction, passive aggressiveness, avoidance, gambling addiction. I can even put food addiction. Like, this is not exhaustive. There are many, many things that it can be a maladaptive behavior for yourself that helps you cope. Because life is tough, face it. So we're going to need coping skills. We're going to need tools and things like that. Let's just develop healthy ones that actually help us towards our goals, not hinder us. And lastly, the good news is we do recover. And something that I've used a lot of, and I would encourage you, check out a cognitive behavioral therapist or different therapists, any psychologist, but this is all basically kind of reprogramming your mind, reprogramming your neural pathways, reprogramming some of your behaviors, sometimes your beliefs, your perspectives, these things underlying, under the hood that are leading you down this constant path of coping through a maladaptive behavior. And CBT is an example of learning-based therapeutic intervention. Thus, it utilizes neuroplasticity. Scientific evidence suggests that CBT, alone or in combination with other treatment strategies, that could be like MAT, other forms of counseling, 12-step groups, other things like that, can be effective intervention for substance use disorders. CBT teaches a person to recognize, avoid, and learn to handle situations when they would be likely to use drugs. So to break that down, so suppose you just had a argument with your, boss, someone in your life, just use an example, some kind of emotional disturbance, and you think, man, I could really use a drink right now, So the first thing, perhaps before you would have just went immediately and got a drink. I think CBT first kind of puts a stop sign there. So you have this moment of realization where that thought comes in like, oh, I'm upset, I should drink. And you go, wait, should I? That's the first step. Then avoid. Okay, but should I go drink, or should I call somebody and talk to them about this? Is there something I can do about this? Begin to look for other moves and other direction that you can go, and then learn to handle these situations when they'd be likely to use drugs. Now, you can apply this in a million different ways. I like to use an example for CBT of masks during COVID. Before COVID, most people probably never thought you had to bring a mask with you when you left the house, have it on you when you entered the building, all this stuff. It took me a month to remember to bring a mask every time, have it on me when I got out of the car, up to the door, all that stuff. But literally, you're retraining your brain to the next time I go to leave the house, oh, where's my mask? Oh, it's in my pocket. To now, once people stop wearing masks, it's like, oh, where's my mask? Oh, that's right, we're not wearing masks currently. This is literally retraining your brain. That's just to give a simple example, but it's all the same stuff. You're taking these cognitive patterns, these cognitive, behaviors that you go through in your mind and reprogramming them, rewiring them. So that way, when you encounter the same stimulus, getting out of the car, instead of thinking, should I grab my mask or not, eventually it might just fade away, decades from now. But this is the recovery-based example of this. But that's the good news, is that you really can rewire, retrain, reprogram your brain with a lot of this stuff. And especially when used in combination or conjunction with other types of therapy, different things like that, like you really can alter the way that you feel and the way that you just carry yourself and go about living. And it's a wonderful, wonderful process. It's so rewarding. And my goal as always, for every client is just improve your quality of life. For your average day, your average mood rating to be improved. We're not looking for a 10 every day. Every day is not going to be a 10 and doesn't need to be a 10. But if we can help you where you feel content, feel satisfied, feel general happiness, joy, gratitude, with these ups and downs, build that sense of resilience, build that problem solving, opportunity development, coping strategies, tools, underlying belief systems, acceptance, these different things, that it all can add up to that big picture I'm talking about. And I had actually made a video before this. It was half an hour. I cut it down 10 minutes, to try and streamline it a little bit. But, I'm just going to keep doing these things in one take and see how they go, But this is just all coming from my knowledge, my experience. I've been at this a while, and I've helped a lot of people through a lot of this stuff. And I've seen the results, and I get my joy and my satisfaction out of helping other people achieve what I have, because to me it would be a shame for me to recover in isolation. I've lost too many people to not want to try and give back this stuff. And I know if it's helped me, it can help other people as well. And thank you. Have a great day.